Ladies and gentlemen, Minecraft 1.19.1 is here with Allay Duplication and a, to say the least, a controversial player reporting system. My name is Slime, and while I do work at Mojang, this channel is not my job. It's something I do in my spare time and have done since the very beginning. Since I've had quite the influx of personal attacks and change requests directed at me personally, I would like to mention that I do not accept those kinds of comments on this channel. Of course, discussion is welcome no matter what your opinion is, but personal attacks and insults are not. And this is not the place for petitions. Thank you for respecting that, and thanks for helping the channel by commenting. So, with that preamble out of the way, let's get into the changes in Minecraft 1.19.1, starting with mobs. Allays can now dance. They do so if a jukebox plays a record while they are nearby. If you also give them an amethyst shard while they are dancing, they will consume the shard to create a new allay. This is not actually duplication, regardless of what the official posts claim. The new allay does not take on the properties of the old one, instead simply spawning a fresh allay. Allay creation can happen at most once every 5 minutes. Note that you have to start the record before giving the allay the shard for the procedure to work. If you have the mob griefing game rule turned off, allays will now also ignore items instead of getting stuck forever. There's some bug fixes for frogs in this version too. They can now lay spawn on waterlogged blocks and will no longer lay spawn on flowing water. We also have some villager fixes. Cured villagers would become unable to restock their trades, that is fixed in this version. They now also work at the right workstations, and nitwit villagers no longer have a profession. Trader llamas now stop spitting when their target is dead. In gameplay news, items you dropped on the ground no longer depend on whether you are sneaking for whether they make vibrations or not, and wool and carpet items no longer cause vibrations when they land. If you have a mouse with more than 8 buttons on it, the game now loads keybinds to those high number buttons correctly. One world generation change in this version? Blending was happening in the nether end and could cause some harsh chunk borders and even missing bedrock in the nether ceiling. That is fixed in this version. In user interface news, the action bar text now has a shadow like every other interface text, and there's a new splash text. Technoblade never dies. Rest in peace. A few sound fixes in this version. 3D directional audio was always on certain sound devices, causing poor audio quality, which is fixed in this version, and mobs that spawn with equipment no longer make the equipping sound. Now, the big change everyone is talking about in this version is related to chat, so let's start digging into that. The secure chat system introduced with 1.19 has been expanded and is now visible to the player. The trust status of other players' chat messages is now shown, so it is possible to tell if a message was written by the player the server claims wrote it, or if it might have been tampered with on the way. These messages also have indicators. A gray bar for system messages, that is, messages that weren't written by a player or that have been stripped by their player origin by a server. A message that was originally written by a player but has been modified by the server along the way are shown with a yellow marker and flagged as modified. You can hover this icon to see the original message. And messages that are detected as not secure are shown with a red marker. This system makes it impossible for someone to impersonate another player by means such as a server operator using commands. When connecting to a server, you'll also be able to tell if that server is enforcing that players are using secure chat. If this is not the case, the game will show a warning toast. When writing a chat message, you'll now also see an indicator to show the signing status of the message. A blue bar means the message is fully signed, but an orange bar can also be present on servers that have chat preview turned on, which means that the game is waiting for the server to send you an up-to-date preview of your current chat input. Chat preview now also has more options. Instead of just off and on, the on setting is now called while typing. If you don't want your text to get sent to the server before you've finished typing, you can change the setting to when sending, which means you get a preview by pressing enter and then send the message by pressing enter a second time. Chat preview is now also on in single player, which means that when typing a message command with a selector in it, you will now see a preview of the output. It is now possible to report secure chat messages sent by players. This is done from the social interaction screen, which is now also available from the pause menu. To do so, click the button that appears next to players who have sent messages in chat. When reporting a player, you are required to select the offending chat messages leave a comment explaining why you are reporting them, and to select a category. The report will then be sent to the Minecraft moderation team and includes cryptographically secured evidence that the report has not been faked, and includes the reported messages and surrounding chat context. The categories that can be reported are these: child sexual exploitation or abuse, which means someone is talking about or otherwise promoting indecent behavior involving children. Terrorism or violent extremism, which means someone is talking about, promoting, or threatening to commit acts of terrorism or violent extremism for political, religious, ideological, or other reasons. Harassment or bullying, which means someone is shaming, attacking, or bullying you or someone else. This includes when someone is repeatedly trying to contact you or someone else without consent, or posting private personal information about you or someone else without consent, also known as doxing. Hate speech, which means someone is attacking you or another player based on characteristics of their identity, like religion, race, or sexuality. Imminent harm, threat to harm others, meaning someone is threatening to harm you or someone else in real life. Defamation, impersonation, or false information, which means someone is damaging someone else's reputation, pretending to be someone they're not, or sharing false information with the aim to exploit or mislead others. Drugs or alcohol, meaning someone is encouraging others to partake in illegal drug-related activities or encouraging underage drinking. Non-consensual intimate imagery, which means someone is talking about sharing or otherwise promoting private and intimate images. And lastly, imminent harm, self-harm, or suicide. Someone is threatening to harm themselves in real life or talking about harming themselves in real life. Reports are then handled by a team of human moderators who can take action, which includes temporarily or even permanently banning your account from online play, with permanent bans being reserved for the most severe or repeated offenses. Other actions may also be taken when appropriate. For instance, the case of someone threatening to harm themselves would not result in a ban, but with support for that player. The contents of reports is what matters, not the amount of them, so being the target of a group of people all sending in false reports does not get you banned. All reports are sent from a player account, and you are responsible for any reports you send, so attempts at abusing the system or sending in excessive false reports can result in your account getting banned. Bans will also show up when the game starts up. The duration of the ban and the reason for it will be shown. The multiplayer and realms buttons are then unavailable. Any bans can also be appealed by submitting a case review form. In addition to these changes, a number of crash fixes and performance improvements have also been included in this version. And those are the changes in Minecraft 1.19.1. Thank you for watching to the end of the video, I do appreciate it. My name is Slime, and I'll see you later.